Hello,
Well,
everybody. Welcome to another episode of Sports Talk for You. It was an interesting weekend in the first weekend of March Madness. Kind of an odd weekend because it started on a Friday night instead of a Wednesday night. But whoever would have thought Pac-12 was the biggest conference this weekend? Everybody thought Pac-12 was overrated. They thought they'd go 0-5. What do you know? Pac-12, I believe, went 9-1, 8-1, with Colorado being the losing end of that. Of course, Colorado played a really good, damn good Florida State team. But the most surprising Pac-12 team has got to be UCLA. I mean, the play-in round, nobody expected them to go to the Sweet 16, and here they are now in the Sweet 16. And then you got Oregon, who just slaughtered Luka Garza in Iowa. Nobody saw a 95-point game coming from Oregon. I mean, that was when I got out of the movies and I saw that. I didn't know what to say. I was still shocked. I'll say that.
Well, you talk about shell shock there, and I think I was a little shell shocked after last night's game. Jeez,
Hey, ass whooping, man.
Yeah, it was not a good one, and I'm a KU and a Wichita State guy. I know it's hard to be both, and it seems unlikely, but growing up a KU fan and going to Wichita State, I've got love for both schools, so I always like to see both of them do well. But last night, USC could have beat anybody last night. I mean, they shot 11 for 17 behind the arc. They couldn't miss a bucket, and KU, they couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. That's how bad it was. So the defense didn't play good. They didn't play well together. So, did they deserve to go to the Final Four or anything like that? Probably not. Did we see that? Probably not. But you know what? For Bill Self to do what he did with that team that he had this year, got to give him a hats off to him.
Exactly. And that's why Wichita State fans can't be mad about the first round or first four loss to Drake, because nobody really expected Isaac Brown to take this team in the first place. So, I mean, the fact that we got there, and the fact that we only came up a point short, and probably I'd say 6 inches from that shot going in, short of making the second round. So,
like I said before, this was not your father's Missouri Valley old school Drake team. This Drake team is very good and may have been good for the past couple, 3-4 years now. The team you got to look out for right now, it's Loyola Chicago. I tell you what, this team is better than their Final Four team from a few years ago. Hey, let's give a shout out to the Big Ten Conference, for goodness sakes. What an embarrassment. 8 teams. They got 8 or 9 teams in, only 9 teams in it. Only Michigan was able to advance. That's embarrassing.
Big 12 got 7 teams in, only 1 in the Sweet 16.
Yeah, I'm just as shocked as anybody else is about the Pac-12, and I'm a Pac-12 guy. I think the reason why no one takes the Pac-12 seriously, especially me, is because the teams outside of Arizona, honestly, they lose to teams like Stetson during the non-conference, okay? And then when they play somebody good, you expect them to lose, but then they end up beating them. So it's just this inconsistency of the conference in itself. But to see what they're doing this year, I mean, it's just kind of been crazy.
Well,
I never thought it was
the sad part.
Yeah.
The Summit League has 1 team in the Sweet 16, and the Big 12 and Big 10 only have 1 team in the Sweet 16.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, man.
I mean,
that's the same Oral Roberts team that Wichita State beat earlier, isn't it? Same Oral Roberts team that we clobbered earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of this has to do with COVID too, guys. I think, with the teams not getting to play a full season and not getting to play, as many games as they should have, we might not have seen all of these teams in the tournament. Yeah, we probably would have seen Michigan and KU and things like that, but we would have seen a little bit better coming from USC and Oregon and teams like that throughout the season. And I think, COVID kind of messed that up. But hey, I think we all can be grateful that we actually get a NCAA tournament this year.
Yeah, I mean, it's been.
Yeah, the thing about it is with COVID, everyone had the same issues. Everyone played by the same rules. It affected everyone. It affected us. And good play. Oh, he's safe. Sorry, I'm at the soccer game. From soccer, he's soccer by a baseball fan. Runners at the corners were less than 2 outs, bottoming 8. But going back to the COVID, everyone had the same issue. So some teams just dealt better with it.
Now, here's my thing. Oh, will Shaka Smart have a job after this month? 0-5 now in the NCAA tournament, and he got beat to a 14 seed in Abilene Christian.
Sorry.
I think
that's my alma mater, and I never dreamt that would happen, honestly. So, but I'll be the first. I think his afro will get him one more year.
I think him beating KU twice will get him another year.
Yeah.
Cutting that afro needs to happen before he gets another year.
I agree.
Now here's the Loyola. If they beat Oregon State, which I think they'll handle Oregon State pretty good, but then again, it's a tournament. We never know what happens. Loyola and Houston, if Houston was to get by their next opponent, which is Syracuse, which Jim Boeheim's a hell of a postseason coach. That's going to be a tough test. Loyola and Houston, that would be one of the best Elite Eight matches you would watch in a long, long time. Especially the fact that Loyola is very, very underseeded and underrated.
Yeah, and a lot of the experts thought that they were seated way too high, right? Or under, whatever.
Well, that goes back to being in the Valley.
Yeah, well, exactly.
Part of being in the Valley, you're not going to get seated at a 5 or a 4.
No,
unless you're Wichita, go 34-0.
Right, and it's the one conference where you can go undefeated and nobody takes you seriously. So the best
undefeated, and we get the number 1 overall seed.
Right. It's kind of funny to me because like the year you guys went undefeated that time, I thought for sure you guys would be a 2 or 3. I mean, Gonzaga plays in just a weak conference, and yet they're always in the top 5 seeding. So it just boggles my mind sometimes what the committee's thinking and whatnot. But just here's a fun little point for y'all. I would rather lose to Drake by 1. I'd rather get my butt kicked, by USC by 30, whatever, instead of losing to Abilene Christian the way Texas did, because that was just downright.
Well, here's my thing. I'd rather lose to Drake.
That's your alma mater, Adam.
Oh, I know it's my alma mater. Come on.
Come on, man.
I'd rather lose in the first 4 than win the NIT.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody cares about that damn tournament.
That's why we call it nobody's interested tournament.
And one team that I was thinking, or not one team, but one game is the USC and Oregon. I really wish that would have been a Final Four game because it really feels like it coming up. And, whoever comes out hot, I think comes and takes that game. But it's going to be hard to beat the brothers. Those guys are good. And I can't wait to watch that game.
Now,
here's a fun.
Which team has the better chance of beating Gonzaga? That's the problem.
Oh, I think both.
Yeah.
Both are unique, and both can, I think, take down Gonzaga in a different way. But the interesting thing is, yes, I think it's a travesty, just to piggyback on what Chase is saying, is that USC and Oregon are meeting up in the Sweet 16 instead of an Elite 8 Final Four-ish, But I think both those teams on that night could have beaten Gonzaga had they played. I've never seen Oregon shoot the way that they did against Iowa. But then again, it's the Big Ten. And honestly, Big Ten schools have trouble with Pac-10 schools Pac-12 is because we like to run and gun. They don't really like to do that. And anyway, I honestly think if you were to – I think Oregon could pull out the win against USC, but honestly, I think both those schools will give Gonzaga a run for its money. And we'll see what happens.
And I gotta say, now that Baylor's played the last 2 weeks and they're on that consistent, steady rhythm, that Baylor team looked like the Baylor team from the beginning of the season. I mean, they came out and just put it to Wisconsin and kept the gas on the pedal.
Yeah, and if one of those teams, if USC or Oregon, if they upset, a Gonzaga, something like that, one of those two teams would be, even Gonzaga, I think would be a nice championship game against Baylor. That's what we've wanted to see all season, that Gonzaga-Baylor game, who was going to win, but it got canceled because of COVID. So that's still a game, I think, for the national championship that I think everybody would like to see as well.
Yeah, and I also, God, I hate to say this because I just cannot stand Jay Wright. I don't know why I'm going to say this on here, but I am. Nobody expected Villanova to get past Winthrop, and Nova has just cruised past the first 2 rounds. And it kills me to say this because I am not a Jay Wright fan, but the guy's done a hell of a job in this postseason so far, and I would not doubt if he takes Baylor down to the wire.
I can see that for sure. He's a great coach. Yeah.
Yeah. Remember, Jay Wright's won the last couple national championships for Villanova, so he can muster up some some surprises for Villanova. Unlike Virginia, who loves losing in the first round, whether it's to a 16th seed or a 13th seed.
Yeah. They actually got that pick right in my bracket, so I was kind of happy that Ohio won that game.
Yeah, I thought Virginia learned from the upset of, being upset by the 16th seed. So I had them going, I believe, to the Sweet 16, because they always preach that defense and they have the most slow offense I've ever seen. But,
I have learned that there's 2 teams, if they make it to the tournament, you do not pick: Missouri and Texas. 2 teams right there. Missouri they have not gotten out of the first round, and I can't remember how long.
I'll add one more team, and that is a Rick Barnes Tennessee team. Yeah. Even when he was coach at Texas, I mean, the guy underachieved. And then, he had a decent Tennessee team, and look, went out first round. Or it could have been the second. I forget which round it was. But the point is, he can't make it to the second weekend at all, which is sad. But
now here's the real question. Which 5 seed has the best chance to knock off the 2-1 seed? Do you think Nova has the best chance to knock off Baylor? Or if Creighton plays the way they've been playing, they can knock off Gonzaga?
I'd say definitely Villanova. Just like your point was Jay Wright, great coach. And just like Armand said, has that national championship mentality from a few years ago. And so I would definitely say Villanova for sure.
I'll say Villanova as well. Just because I believe this is Mark Few's best team at Gonzaga. So, honestly, I don't see Creighton. I see Creighton pushing them a little bit, kind of the way Oklahoma did. Got to give a shout-out to Reeves and that OU team because Reeves was awesome that day. But I'll take Villanova pushing Baylor just because, Thing with Baylor that I like is their defense. And that, their defense creates offense. And that's what's made them so successful. So, but with Gonzaga, they got it both ways. Do I think they're beatable? Yes. But if I had to pick between the two, I put my money on Villanova over Creighton just because better coach.
Now,
there's no way that Creighton is going to beat Gonzaga. It's got to be Villanova over oh gosh, who was it? On the other side.
Over Baylor.
Baylor, yeah, I will take Villanova. Baylor, any day of the week. Creighton's going to have a tough time getting by, with the Sweet 16 matchup. So I would take Villanova.
Now, here's the real question. We all know Mr. Roberts loves the oral. He got happy this weekend.
That's what she said.
Yes. This Oral Roberts team, sorry, I had to bring that up. I tweeted that this weekend, and I could not stop laughing with people responding. But Oral Roberts facing a damn good Arkansas team, but then again, they faced a damn good Ohio State team and knocked off Ohio State. But in my opinion, Arkansas should have been seated higher than Ohio State. I really don't see Oral Roberts getting past Arkansas. But then again, in NCAA tournament, there's always a first for everything, and there's never been a 15 seed to an Elite Eight. So this could be the year.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And Oral Roberts, they're a good little squad. They got an inside presence as well as good guards, and I've always preached that the NCAA tournament, you go as far as your guards. Yes, the big men are nice too, but you got some bigs that can help neutralize the other team's bigs and let your guards create and do whatever. I believe that's the key to winning the whole thing. So I believe they got a fighting chance, So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be tough. And really, those are really the only big games I'm going to look forward to because, the other Sweet 16 games, they're kind of blah, blah, blah. But I'm really rooting for Houston because AAC needs some love. I mean, Wichita State couldn't get past that first four to help the AAC out. But now that Houston's in the Sweet 16 again, hopefully Kelvin Sampson can get over that hump. They won that game with an injured Giroux. That guy was playing with a damn bruised hip or a hip pointer. That shit hurts. And for that guy to go out and play through that when his team was down by 8, he told coach, put me in. He was grimacing playing that last 8 minutes, and he brought that team back, and they won that game. But that's a dangerous team if they get Quentin Grimes, former KU player, if they get him going because he's an All-American, and Giroux and that defense, I believe they can win a national championship, which I believe would be their first one since I believe the 60s is when Houston won their last one.
Well, and what a matchup it would be to have Baylor against Houston. That would be a really good game to watch as well.
Yeah, especially with Houston's firepower, but they're underrated based on their defense. Houston's a good defensive team. And if they can match the offensive production that they have with their defense, they're a scary team. And hopefully their star player gets, heals up, gets better, and we'll see what happens. But yeah, no, that was a gutsy performance by him and that whole Houston team, in fact, because I counted them out with 8 minutes to go just because of just how the game was going, and I was happy. I truly, truly was because, it's just kind of interesting, this tournament. It's like the Pac-12 is trying to gain respect. The AAC is trying to gain respect, It's not nothing against the Big 12, ACC, or SEC, but all these other schools seem like, they're tired of not being mentioned, especially the conferences. And yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm looking forward to this week, though.
Oh, by the way, the Chicago Bears are looking to sign Sister Jean from Loyola University.
Is that to play quarterback?
I heard they need a quarterback, so they're hiring Sister Jean in the wheelchair.
Well, if it brings good luck, Chicago hasn't had good luck in how many years?
Hell, she can probably move better than Mitchell Trubisky can.
Or Andy Dalton, right?
Or Andy Dalton.
Yeah.
I love the reasoning why Andy Dalton went to Chicago. He's like, they promised me the starting job. I'm like, it shouldn't be that hard.
Yeah.
You got to beat up Nick Foles, who will get injured after the first play of a game.
Exactly.
Then Trubisky was whatever. That whole team is just one big fiasco, and I don't understand why. They've always had the defense. I don't understand why they can't find a quarterback, let alone an offense. So.
All right, let's do, before our show next week, we'll do the show before the national championship. Final four predictions. I'm going Loyola for sure. I'm going to go Loyola, Oregon, Houston, and I can't remember who's in the other brackets. I'll have to look at the other brackets. I can't remember who's in the other ones. But I got Loyola, Oregon, and Houston for sure.
Is Florida
I'm gonna
State in that other
Florida
bracket?
State.
Yes.
Florida State. That's who
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah, I got Gonzaga, Florida State, and I'll throw in a Pac-12 school. I think the winner of USC Oregon could actually upset Gonzaga. So I'm gonna go out on a limb there, and then I got Houston. And you got to know too. Gonzaga's kind of got a rivalry with every Pac-12 school. Honestly, Arizona, UCLA, USC, and it'll be interesting if when they match up. So. But I'm excited. I'm really excited for that Oregon USC because the Mobley brothers, they're dang good duo down low to go with that high octane run and gun of the Oregon Ducks. So we'll see. We'll see if Gordon Bombay comes out and just does quack.
I'm going to stick with my original Final Four. That's I have Houston in the Final Four. I have Gonzaga. I have Baylor, and I believe I don't have my bracket in front of me since I'm watching Shocker baseball right now. But it's going to be Gonzaga and Baylor, and I have Baylor winning. I don't see Gonzaga running the table. It's just too tough for you to do that. There's a reason why it hasn't been done since 1976 Indiana squad. So there's my deal. I'm going to stick by to my original deal.
There you go.
Well, I'm going to go with pretty similar to yours, Armand. I'm going to go with Gonzaga, Florida State on coming out of the East, and then Baylor and Houston. So I think those are the most dominating teams out there. I think if anything comes out of that, I think we would, instead of Gonzaga, like you said, Adam, maybe seeing that Oregon or USC. But I don't think it'll happen unless they come out and shoot like the way that they did. So
I'm gonna
Gonzaga,
put Florida.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say Roberts is gonna get crazy and oral, and he's gonna get all the way to that Final Four.
Well, we almost had Moorhead in there, so
yeah.
I really wanted to see that Moorhead and Oral Roberts. And you know who else did? Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton wanted to see it.
Hey, just a quick update. Shockers defeat Kansas State 5-1. Go Shocker baseball. Improvement to 9.
Good job.
Good job, Shocks. All right, there is our Final Four picks. So we hope all y'all enjoyed the show. If you want to comment underneath, give us your Final Four picks. If you think that we're stupid with our picks, let us know about it. We don't care. Go Stephen A on our asses. We don't care. So that's it for us tonight. We'll be back next week with the second round, or not the second round, Sweet 16 Elite 8 updates, and see who we have on the Final Four. We could have some teams that we never even thought would make the Final Four in there next week.
Amen.
Amen.